I'm excited to introduce my good friend Travis Saxton, who's come in to join us in Burlington for a couple days. I'd like to say there's sort of three things I like about Travis. The first is there's probably nobody in the real estate industry that's a better golfer than you are. We did find one person in the entire NAR show. There's one person he admitted, he's like, this guy can play golf better than I can. But otherwise, you got that going for you. The second is I'm not sure there's anybody that's looked at more real estate technology than you. One time I got on a call with Travis and he said, I'm doing a report about CRMs and I've just looked at 33 real estate CRMs. I was like, wow, that is amazing. There's probably no one in the country who's looked at more real estate tech. And then the last thing is we're both dads of little kids of the same age. So we can commiserate about what it's like to get no sleep and constantly be changing diapers.
And the last one's probably the hardest out of the three.
Yes, absolutely, definitely.
World-class golfer, see all the technology in the space, but being a dad kind of takes home the cake there.
Yeah, totally. Wrestling's children under 4 years old, right? It's a full. That's an activity.
Definitely, it's funny because we were recently together at NAR and had 1,000 tech companies in that room, wow. And as we looked across the horizon, there's new tech coming in, there's established tech, and during the NAR Reach presentation that we gave on the main stage, we found that the Reach program actually views about 1,000 real estate tech companies wow. every year and vets it and thoroughly goes through everyone to get down to the 8 finalists. And that's 1,000, and you look at the 1,000 that were in there and established, and there's so many. I had 5,000 plus in our space doing different aspects of the real estate funnel, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. But man, it's a very dynamic landscape. That's
sure. A lot of companies. Yeah. So I guess one question that I would have for you coming into 2019, what are sort of a couple trends, things that you're excited about, things that you think brokerages should be paying attention to?
That's a good question. Obviously, there's a lot of new business models out there. The Open Doors, the Knox, and Compass is making some waves, and a lot of brokerages are wising up to that. And so the first trend I think that's most important is essentially just making sure that you're on par with what's going on in your marketplace. And that might mean a pretty significant financial investment. And so brokers are wising up. They're calling us. They're saying, hey, T360, help us navigate the technology landscape and bring in some new technology that's going to get us competitive in our market or sustain our competitiveness or even push us ahead. So that's probably the biggest trend that we're seeing is brokers realizing, sometimes due to external threats and competition, that they need to make a big change in what they're doing. No longer status quo is no longer good enough.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. A lot of times with marketing, we'll talk about like offensive marketing versus defensive. But of course, like the option of no marketing, like that, just put the for sale sign in front of your office.
That's for sure. And probably the second biggest trend is tying into that a little bit from proactive versus reactive marketing. And there's way too much reactive going on in our industry. And there are signs and indicators that we can use as an industry to figure out where that ball is going. Watch what Google and Apple and the big guys are doing. Amazon and so on and so forth. Voice is very important. Driving mobile traffic, driving traffic in other capacities than the traditional methods. And traditional used to be print and newspaper. Well, we know that's dying now, and people have gone to search engine marketing and Facebook. And that's actually starting to kind of tip over now as well. And so what's next? And being ahead of that. Sometimes it means being experimental and watching like Alexa and Google Home and figuring out how to tie into those things as that becomes a new horizon in our industry. So that new age marketing is going to be a new frontier that brokers need to get with and start prepping themselves for the eventual change.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you sort of talk about new age marketing or digital marketing. I sort of think of it as like that is what marketing is now, right? And I would say something like print, like that would be like legacy marketing, right? So there's so many things that people used to traditionally think of, well, that's really my marketing. Actually, that's actually not your marketing anymore. But going back to what you said a minute ago, what are, could you maybe give an example of a brokerage that you think is doing something really innovative and creative out there?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a bunch that I've been able to see. The first one that comes to mind is Realty Austin. I know we talk about a lot about the Austin market, but they're good friends, and they were kind of proprietors of the automated Facebook listing marketing and some of those things that they're doing, and really tying it into a systematic technology platform too, so that they can kind of see from end to end what they're doing. So I like what they're doing, but there's a lot. There's a lot of great companies out there. The EXP from a virtual operating standpoint, where it's amazing. Like, they don't even have brick and mortar spaces.
Yeah.
Their senior management show up as avatars in a virtual world when they go to work in the morning. They dress their avatars. It's crazy.
Yeah, you decide which avatar tie you're going to put on that morning.
Totally.
Actually, if you're an avatar, you probably don't wear a tie.
No, they do. They dress them up like full on suits and stuff. It's
you're like, you know, if they're wearing the tie today, it must be something serious. They're about to
That's
go
right.
into closing,
They got a
closing or
yeah.
something.
Yeah. So I mean, but there are a lot, and I like, of course, what a lot of the iBuyers are doing, and some of the big brands have noticed that and launched their own iBuyer programs, the Open Doors, the Knox, and stuff like that. And really, what they're doing is they're appealing to a convenience persona. So somebody that really just wants to buy and sell a house in the quickest, most painless time, and that is a segment of the market that will definitely need to appeal to it. It might not be the traditional broker might look at that and go, well, I don't want to deal with that consumer, or maybe not say it that way, but they're not my primary target. And that makes sense, because they might be dealing with more of a luxury or someone who wants service and support and the hand holding. But there is a big growing segment of the market that grew up in the Amazon era and the click now and the order now and it's at my house. That kind of persona is only actually getting bigger. And so appealing to that persona is going to be pretty important.
Yeah, you know, and I agree with you that there's definitely a segment of the market there. You know, one of the pillars of our vision at Union Street Media is that brokers are the future. And I think that when you think about the times that people go to transact a house, like oftentimes it's around a time of loss, right? Loss of job, loss of family member, relationship, like some comings and goings, right? And at certain times in those situations, you might want somebody who's like, hey, I just want to be done with this, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm willing to take a discount through like an iBuyer exit, right? And in other times, it's actually probably the total opposite. You're going through like an emotional transaction. You need someone to move yourself, you know, move through there.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be interesting to see the level of adoption with the iBuyers and how many people kind of hop on that. You know, having witnessed a few family and friends that recently have gone through the process, like they're definitely not like iBuyer ready, but there are people that are out there who I think will hop on that.
And as with anything, I think there's going to be, even myself as a classic example, I have 2 Google Homes and I have 2 Amazon Alexas in my house, and I'm still kind of, which one do I adopt? Is there a platform? I got Nest products on my door and in my backyard, and then Alexa products elsewhere, and so there's always going to be this this kind of adoption conversation going on, even with something as large as a transaction type in real estate.
Totally, yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Well, I guess, and so last question, you know, you've been in Vermont now for about 48 hours. What's been the best meal that you've had so far?
Well, I've had a lot. I've been lucky to have, on the way home from Boston, we stopped at Worthy Burger. That was amazing, one of the best meals I had in a long time. And the skinny pancake this morning was amazing, and I'm excited to do dinner there as well. So that was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
But gosh, Farmhouse and what is it, Felino's?
Felino's. Yeah.
Was were all good too. So I've worked out a lot, just for the record, while I'm here, but I've ate a lot too. So
yeah, so you know, you come to Vermont and you can just eat your way through like the best food and talk a little bit of real estate marketing. So Travis, just want to say thanks a lot for you know, Union Street Media has partnered with T360, and we're really excited about working together with you and getting some insight into that incredible mind that you have and your breadth and knowledge of the real estate tech world. So thanks for coming to Burlington.
Thank you, and likewise, for the record, we find and vet and validate trusted technology that is enterprise worthy in the real estate space, and you guys are a great partner of ours. We're looking forward to continually building upon this partnership and finding those right fits in the industry, and any broker should be lucky to work with Union Street Media for your expertise and the custom nature of being able to deliver the right solution and the right message to the right audience.
Hey, thank you.